Voting reform. This film is to help you have an understanding of the different ways in which democracies undertake their elections in order to choose their governments. It will show you the different styles of voting and how those votes are counted and how it can affect the outcome of the election. In May 2010, the UK held a national or general election where voters chose a new government. Under Britain's electoral system, which is called Firstpastthepost, the aim is for a single party to achieve more than half the available seats in the House of Commons. The magical number for a majority in the House of Commons at present is 326 seats. That is half of the seats plus one to give a majority. Once enough MPs have been elected from a particular party to achieve 326, then the leader of that party is chosen to become the next Prime Minister. So, in 2010, the following happened. The Conservative Party here won the single biggest share of the seats with 306. The Labour Party, 258, the Liberals 57, and various other parties, like the Green Party that got one seat, the nationalist parties, like the SNP, and Plaid Cymru, the Welsh Nationalist Party. They picked up 28. The Conservatives were short of their total majority. What transpired is that the Conservatives had to form a partnership or a coalition in order to form a majority. In Weimar Germany, this was essential because the system was different to the British system. The British system historically always generates majorities for one particular party. In fact, we've only had a few coalition governments in the last 100 years. Now, however, if you were to add up how many people actually voted for each party nationally, rather than each constituency, that is, area represented by an MP, you would find out the following, however. The Conservatives with 306 seats polled 36.1% of the vote. Labour, with 29% of the vote, achieved 258 seats. The Liberal Party, with 23%, a quarter of the vote, only polled 57 seats. The Liberal Party, despite achieving 23% of the national vote, got less than 10% of the seats, because that's the way that the British voting system works. The Conservative Party, despite having the largest share of the vote, failed to achieve a majority, but they still form a government, whilst 64% of the population did not vote for them. If you look again, if you add up the Liberals and the Labour and the others, the vast majority of the voters didn't vote for the party that actually formed the government. Now, when you look at that data, you can see the argument why some people say that first past the post is not the fairest system of electing a government. Some people have therefore said that our electoral system needs changing. You will now see how this election in 2011 would have panned out had alternative systems used in other parts of the world been used in our general election rather than a first past the post. Under a method called the single transferable vote, the Conservatives would have gained 246 seats, Labour 207, and the Liberal Democrats 162. Now, this system is used in the European Parliament. It's also used in Northern Ireland, but it is not used in general elections. And in this system, you rank your choices. Under the alternative voting system, again, you rank the candidates. If no candidate has 50% of the first preferences, then second preferences are counted. Again, this is sometimes used in Northern Ireland, and it would generate these results. Same number of people voting for each party. Under the alternative vote plus system, these are the results that would have been generated using this style of voting. You will note that under each of these systems, no party is necessarily gaining a majority. Now, the reason why they're not gaining a majority is because the votes are being reflected in power much more fairly. But in not giving any one party a majority, you are not necessarily voting in a strong government. And under difficult, trying times, a strong government may be preferable to a weak government, even though it may not necessarily be the fairest way of choosing a government. That's one opinion. You might, however, think that the fairest form of government will always provide the best government. An under-proportional representation, often argued to be the fairest, and this is what was used in Weimar Germany from 1919 to 1933, this would have been the outcome. You will note